In this video, we'll go over the exercise of building our first page together. Now, I'll start on my end by first exporting this blocks set from webiny.com, but that same export should be provided alongside the video description on your end. I just want to demonstrate here how the export looks like and how the import looks like. So I'll navigate to the, for example, I want to export this category, so I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to choose export blocks from current category. This is going to now run a background process for me where it's going to export one block at a time, and then it's going to compress all of those into a single archive, and I'm going to be provided with a URL to that archive. The archive not only contains the blocks, but it contains also all of the assets like images and similar that are embedded in those blocks. So I'm going to download the archive. And there we go. So my archive has been downloaded. And now what we can do is navigate to our instance that we've been using as part of the partner evaluation guide. And I'm going to navigate to page builder. I'm going to navigate to blocks. In here, I will use import blocks option. I'm going to choose import file. Now let's do I'm just going to create a folder into which we're going to add our blocks archive. By the way, you can just use the URL that gets provided as part of the export and just paste the URL here. It's much quicker, but since I want you to replicate this on your end, basically on your end, you will be going through this upload process as well. So once you upload the archive, it's going to start the import process. Great, so all of our blocks have been imported. It's going to reload. And now we have our blocks on this other side. You see all of the assets already load and everything is identical to the instance we had on the running on the other side. One thing you will notice is if you move back to this instance is that see the fonts are different because again these are first of all to understand these are not preview images. These we are actually rendering HTML components here behind this overlay. And we are using the CSS provided by your theme to render all of the fonts, the images, line height, all of the visuals. So because I don't have the same theme running on this instance here, there are some visual discrepancies. But once we go through the theme in the video, you'll see how you can just basically, in essence, copy paste the theme from one web instance to another. And then this all will automatically render identical. We won't bother with that for now. The point of this exercise is to get a sense for how to use the editor and build your first page. And that's what we're going to do now. Let's now go to pages. We're going to click new page. We don't have any templates as it's a fresh install of Webiny, so we're just going to click use a blank page template, which is going to put us into this empty state in the page editor. First of all, let's give our page a name. Let's call it demo page. And now we're going to start adding some content. We'll press the button here. We've got a couple of options. So let's just put these blocks one after each other. Alright, so we got a couple of blocks. Let's rearrange them a bit. We're going to move this one here. I'd say I don't like this block actually. I want to have a call to action block, but this doesn't really fit what I'm looking for. So I'm going to delete this one and I'm going to create myself a new one from scratch. I'm going to use an empty block. I'm going to name it CTA block. Now I'll grab my CTA block and move it here. Okay. For the layout of the CTA, let's say I want to have a grid, which I do, but I want to have a grid with 2 columns, and I want to make the first column a bit smaller and the column on the right hand side a bit bigger. Okay. In this one, I want to add a heading. Let's say I want to add 2 things. I want to have a heading and an icon. Okay. Now, to build more complex layouts, what I'm going to do is in this cell, I'm going to actually add another grid. Right. So now I have a grid cell grid, and inside that grid again, I've got another cell. This gives me more options, because now what I can do is take this grid and I can again divide it if needed, but I don't want to divide it actually. I want to have 2 rows in it. Okay. And in the top row, what I'll do is add an icon. Let's do AWS, whatever, right? We can make it bigger, smaller, change its color and other options, but for now, this is okay, what I'm looking for. And then I want to have a heading here. Let's move this to heading 3, and I want to say powered by AWS. Powered by AWS technology. I want to, let's say, bold AWS, put it into a bigger color, and I want to align it center. Okay. The other bit that I want to do here is on this grid, just want to make a bit more room between the columns, let's say 50 pixels, so that there's just a bigger gap between the left side and the right side. Okay. On the right hand side, what I'll do is I'll add a paragraph, and let's add some text. Let's do some cheesy sales stuff. All right, so we got that. Let's make it big, a bit bigger. Okay. And I want to add a button there as a call to action. I've got a few button types. And this is another thing that we control by the theme. The theme can expose different button styles, as many as you want. You can control the name, everything, and they can, again, look different, have different colors, and many other things. So here, I just do I need an icon? Yes, I'll need an icon, but let's move this to the left side. Let's add some room here. Okay. Now I want to make this like so. Learn more. All right. Let's I want to make the icon on the left side, make it smaller, and I want to make it different color. Cool. Okay, now I want to make some room on top and bottom of this block. Let's use the padding property for that. It's 25 pixels on both sides. I think I need a bit more. Let's do 50. Cool. So let's now have a look at how this looks like on different breakpoints. Okay. Here we see that this one is actually It's got negative margin on this block. So what I want to do is push my block on mobile a bit further down by adding some top margins here. There we go. So now we got that, but also I want to add a bit more padding around it on mobile, so it's 25 pixels across all sides. Again, this change only affects block on this breakpoint, because you see it's got these icons that mean no matter what change I make, it only applies to this breakpoint. So if I go back here, none of those 100% padding margin that I put, it doesn't apply on this breakpoint, right? All right, cool. And by the way, you can do also other stuff. For example, let's say I don't want this call to action to be visible on mobile. I can just hide this element. But if I go to other breakpoints, it's visible. And this one is hidden. If I want to go back to it, I can just find it here and unhide it. All right. Let's say we're happy with it. We would probably then update some titles, add a URL for it, add some social and SEO values and so on. But we always want to double check how it's going to look like on the actual website. Here the theme actually loads some stuff as part of the layout, so it again changes the font sizes, but usually this is not a problem. We can see how it looks like, and if we're happy with it, we would just press publish. And now our page is live. See, it's green, it's got version 1. You can get the preview here. And again, if you want to make changes to it, we would click edit. This is version 2, right? So we got that. And now we can do, if we go preview here, because we're in version 2, we see this is version 2, and this page is not live, right? But if we go back here, go here, we got version 2 draft, version 1 published, so version 1 doesn't have that. Go version 2, has that. And from here, if we do version 1 and do view, it's going to show us the live page. Go version 2, it's going to have a preview, purely because view option is available when a page is published. But here, for every other version that's not published, we have a preview, and it shows us that actual version. All right, so this was a quick example of how you can create a page, import, export blocks, preview a page, and then if you want to go further from here, you can export this page, you can duplicate a page, you can create some folders to categorize things. If you don't need this page anymore, you can just always just go ahead and delete the page. All right. Give it a shot, try it on your end, just to get a bit of a feeling for the editor. We only demonstrated very basic elements here, a button, a paragraph, layouts and cells, but just the layouts and cell option, as you nest them one into each other and play with the mobile responsive, there's pretty much no layout that you can't do with that combination, because you can nest to any level you need. All right, I'll see you on the next tutorial.